The rain poured mercilessly as 12-year-old Sophia huddled under the awning of Joe's diner, her clothes soaked through, stomach growling with a hunger she'd grown too familiar with. Inside, a single father named Marcus watched her through the window, his own daughter asleep in the booth beside him. What happened next would change both their lives forever, but neither could have predicted how their paths would cross again 15 years later, when Sophia returned to town as the CEO of a tech empire, keeping a childhood promise that Marcus had long forgotten. If you've ever believed in the power of kindness or second chances, this story will touch your heart. Like and subscribe to see more incredible true stories of life's unexpected journeys. Marcus wiped down the counter of his small diner for the third time that hour, a nervous habit he'd developed in the 6 months since becoming both a widower and the sole owner of Joe's Diner. The place had been his father-in-law's pride and joy before cancer took him just 3 months after Marcus's wife Elena died in the car accident. Now it was just Marcus and his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, trying to keep both the diner and themselves afloat in the small town of Millfield. The bell above the door jingled, pulling Marcus from his thoughts. He looked up to see a young girl, perhaps 11 or 12, standing awkwardly in the entrance. Her clothes were worn and slightly too small, her dark hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. What caught Marcus's attention, though, were her eyes, large, intelligent, and carrying a wariness no child should possess. "Can I help you?" Marcus asked, setting aside his cloth. The girl approached the counter cautiously. "How much is a cup of hot chocolate?" Marcus glanced at the menu board. $2. The girl's face fell as she dug into her pocket and pulled out a handful of coins. She counted them carefully, her small fingers trembling slightly. "I only have $1.35, she said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. Something in her expression, a mixture of disappointment and resignation, struck Marcus deeply. He'd seen that look on his own face in the mirror too many times since becoming a single parent. "Tell you what," he said, already reaching for a mug. "Hot chocolate is on special today, $1.35. The girl looked up sharply, suspicion crossing her features before she carefully placed her coins on the counter. "Are you sure?" "Absolutely," Marcus replied, turning to prepare the drink. "Would you like whipped cream?" After a moment's hesitation, she nodded. Marcus added an extra dollop of whipped cream and a few mini marshmallows before sliding the mug across the counter. "I'm Marcus, by the way. I own this place." "I'm Sophia," the girl replied, wrapping her hands around the warm mug. "Thank you." "You're welcome, Sophia. Are you waiting for someone?" She shook her head, taking a small sip of the hot chocolate. "No, I just needed to get warm." Marcus noticed then that her jacket was too thin for the chilly October weather, and her sneakers had seen better days. "Are you hungry?" he asked casually. Sophia hesitated, pride warring with hunger in her eyes. "I'm okay. Well, I just made a fresh batch of fries, and I can't possibly sell them all before they get cold. Would you mind helping me out?" The corner of Sophia's mouth twitched. "I guess I could do that." Marcus prepared a plate of fries and added a grilled cheese sandwich, placing it before her with a smile. "My daughter Lily is over there," he said, nodding toward a booth where his daughter was coloring. "She's 8. Maybe you could keep an eye on her while I clean up the kitchen? She could use some company." Sophia glanced at Lily, then back at Marcus. Understanding passed between them. He was offering her a way to accept his help without feeling like charity. "I can do that," she said, picking up her mug and plate. That first encounter became a regular occurrence. Sophia would appear at the diner 3 or 4 times a week, usually after school. Marcus learned that she lived with her grandmother, who worked long hours as a night shift nurse. Her parents were out of the picture. Her father had left when she was a baby, and her mother had succumbed to addiction years ago. Marcus never charged Sophia full price, always finding some special or discount to apply. In return, Sophia would help Lily with her homework or keep her entertained while Marcus managed the diner. The arrangement benefited everyone. Lily adored Sophia. Marcus got some much-needed help with his daughter, and Sophia found a safe place where she could eat a decent meal and be treated with dignity. Winter arrived with unusual ferocity that year. One particularly brutal evening, Marcus was preparing to close when Sophia burst through the door, her thin jacket covered in snow, her face flushed with cold. "Sophia, what are you doing out in this weather?" Marcus exclaimed, immediately guiding her to the warmest booth. "Grandma's car broke down," she explained through chattering teeth. "She's working a double shift at the hospital and our heat isn't working right. I just needed to get warm for a bit." Marcus frowned, already moving to prepare hot chocolate. "You can't go back to a cold house. You'll stay with us tonight. I can't impose." "It's not an imposition," Marcus interrupted gently. "Lily will be thrilled, and we have a perfectly good guest room. Your grandmother can pick you up tomorrow when her shift ends." Sophia's eyes welled with tears. She quickly blinked away. "Why are you so nice to me?" Marcus set the hot chocolate before her and sat down across the booth. "Because someone was nice to me when I needed it most. After my wife died, I was drowning. Joe, my father-in-law, gave me purpose by bringing me into this diner. Sometimes all it takes is one person believing in you." That night, as Marcus tucked both girls into their respective beds, Sophia looked up at him with solemn eyes. "Mr. Marcus, when I grow up and get rich, I'm going to marry you." Marcus chuckled, smoothing her hair. "Is that so?" Sophia nodded seriously. "Yes, because you're the nicest man in the world, and rich people should marry nice people." "Well, I'm honored," Marcus replied, playing along. "But you don't need to be rich, Sophia. Just be kind and work hard. That's worth more than money." "I'll be both," she declared confidently. "You'll see." The years passed. Sophia's grandmother's health declined, and Marcus often stepped in to help, driving Sophia to school events or having her stay with them. When her grandmother had extended hospital stays by the time Sophia was 16, she had become like a second daughter to Marcus and a big sister to Lily. Sophia was brilliant, consistently at the top of her class despite her challenging home circumstances. When she received a full scholarship to MIT for computer science, Marcus hosted a celebration dinner at the diner, inviting the whole town to congratulate her. The night before she left for college, Sophia helped Marcus close the diner. "I'm going to miss this place," she said, wiping down tables with practiced efficiency. "This place is going to miss you," Marcus replied. "But you're going to do amazing things, Sophia. I've always known that." Sophia paused, her eyes meeting his. "I wouldn't be going anywhere if it weren't for you, Marcus. You fed me when I was hungry. You gave me a safe place. You believed in me. You did all the hard work," Marcus insisted. "I just provided some meals and a little encouragement." "You provided a lot more than that," Sophia said quietly. "You showed me what family could be." The next day, Marcus and Lily drove Sophia to the airport. Their goodbye was tearful but hopeful. "Remember," Marcus told her as they hugged, "you always have a home here." For the first year, Sophia called regularly and came home for holidays. But as she progressed through college, the calls became less frequent. She spent summers doing prestigious internships rather than returning to Millfield. By her senior year, communication had dwindled to occasional texts and brief calls on birthdays and Christmas. Marcus understood. Sophia was building a new life, one filled with opportunities and connections far beyond what their small town could offer. He was proud of her even as he missed her presence in their lives. After graduation, Sophia seemed to disappear entirely. Marcus heard through town gossip that she had joined a tech startup in Silicon Valley. Years passed with no word. Lily graduated high school and went off to college herself. The diner struggled as chain restaurants moved into town, but Marcus persevered, too stubborn to give up his father-in-law's legacy. Then came the recession of 2020, followed by the pandemic. Joe's Diner, like many small businesses, was hit hard. Marcus took out loans, reduced hours, and did everything possible to stay afloat, but by early 2022, he was facing the very real possibility of closing permanently. On a rainy Tuesday afternoon, remarkably similar to the day he'd first met Sophia 15 years earlier, Marcus sat at the counter, reviewing his dismal financial statements. The diner was empty, as it often was these days. The bell above the door jingled, and Marcus looked up, plastering on a welcoming smile despite his worries. The smile froze on his face as he recognized the woman who entered. Her dark hair was now styled in an elegant bob, and she wore a tailored business suit that probably cost more than his monthly mortgage payment. But those eyes, intelligent, intense, and now confident rather than wary, were unmistakable. "Sophia?" he said, hardly believing it. She smiled, the years falling away. "Hello, Marcus." He came around the counter and embraced her, emotions overwhelming him. "My God, look at you. You're all grown up." "It's been a long time," she acknowledged, returning his hug tightly. "Too long," Marcus agreed, stepping back to look at her. "What brings you back to Millfield? Are you visiting your grandmother?" He immediately regretted the question, remembering that her grandmother had passed away several years ago. "No," Sophia said, her expression turning serious. "I'm here to see you, actually. I heard the diner's been struggling." Marcus's smile dimmed. "News travels fast. Yes, it's been tough, but we'll manage." Sophia glanced around the empty diner. "Can we sit? I have something important to discuss with you." They settled into the same booth where Sophia had often sat with Lily all those years ago. Marcus noticed that Sophia seemed nervous despite her polished appearance. "I should have come back sooner," she began. "I should have stayed in touch better. There's no excuse, really, except that I was trying so hard to prove myself, to build something meaningful." "You don't owe me explanations, Sophia," Marcus said gently. "You had your own life to live." "But I do owe you," she insisted, "more than you know." She took a deep breath. "Do you remember what I said to you the night I stayed at your house during that snowstorm?" "I was 12, I think," Marcus thought back. "You said something about marrying me when you grew up and got rich," he recalled with a chuckle. "Childish fancy." "It wasn't just fancy," Sophia said quietly. "It was a promise to myself. Not literally about marriage, of course, but about coming back when I had something to offer, about repaying kindness with kindness." She reached into her designer handbag and pulled out a business card, sliding it across the table. Marcus picked it up, reading the embossed text. "Sophia Chen, CEO and founder, Nextech Solutions." His eyes widened. "Nextech? The software company? That's yours?" Sophia nodded, a hint of pride in her smile. "We went public last year. Our AI integration systems are being used by companies worldwide." "Sophia, that's incredible," Marcus said, genuinely amazed. "I always knew you'd do something remarkable, but this is beyond anything I imagined. I wouldn't have done any of it without you," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "Those meals you gave me, the safe haven you provided, they were lifelines, Marcus. You saw potential in me when no one else did." Marcus shook his head. "You had that potential all along. I just fed you some burgers and fries. It was never just about the food," Sophia insisted. "It was about dignity, respect. You treated me like I mattered when the rest of the world made me feel invisible." She reached across the table, taking his hand. "And now I want to help you, the way you helped me. Sophia, I want to invest in Joe's Diner," she continued, determination in her voice. "Not as charity, but as a business partnership. This place deserves to thrive, and with some modernization and marketing, it can." Marcus stared at her, conflicted. "I can't take your money, Sophia. You're not taking anything. I'm investing in something valuable," she countered. "Besides, I have an ulterior motive. I'm opening a regional office for Nextech just outside of Millfield. I'll need somewhere to get a decent burger." Her eyes twinkled. "And I remember yours being the best." "You're moving back?" Marcus asked, surprised. "Part-time, at least. The pandemic showed us that tech companies don't need to be concentrated in Silicon Valley. We're decentralizing, opening smaller offices in communities across the country." She squeezed his hand. "And I wanted to come home." Over the next few hours, as rain continued to fall outside, Sophia outlined her vision. The diner would maintain its charm and community focus, but update its systems and expand its reach. Marcus would remain the heart and soul of the operation, while Sophia would provide the capital and business expertise to ensure its survival. "There's one more thing," Sophia said as their conversation wound down. "Lily, how is she?" Marcus smiled. "She's wonderful. Finishing up her teaching degree at State. She'll be home for spring break next week, actually." "I'd love to see her," Sophia said wistfully. "I've missed her. I used to think of her as the little sister I never had." "She felt the same way about you," Marcus assured her. "She'll be thrilled you're back." As evening approached, other customers began to trickle in, mostly regulars who did their best to support the struggling diner. Marcus introduced Sophia proudly, watching as she charmed everyone with her warmth and genuine interest in their lives. Despite her success, she hadn't lost the ability to connect with people from all walks of life. When the last customer had left and Marcus was preparing to close, Sophia helped him clean up, falling into their old routine as if 15 years hadn't passed. "You don't have to do this," Marcus protested as she wiped down tables. "You're a CEO now." Sophia laughed. "CEOs can still wipe tables, Marcus. Besides, this feels right, like coming full circle." As they finished, Sophia paused by the window, looking out at the rain-slicked street. "Do you remember that first day? I was standing out there, soaking wet and starving." Marcus joined her at the window. "I remember thinking you looked too serious for such a young girl." "I was serious," Sophia acknowledged. "Life had already taught me some hard lessons." She turned to face him. "But you taught me the most important lesson of all, that kindness matters. That one person can change the trajectory of someone's life. And now you're changing mine," Marcus observed. "Just returning the favor," Sophia replied with a smile. "Though I'm afraid I won't be marrying you after all. That might be a bit awkward now." They both laughed, the tension of the day dissolving into comfortable familiarity. "I am curious, though," Marcus said as they prepared to leave. "All these years, all your success, why come back now?" Sophia was quiet for a moment, considering her answer. "I've achieved everything I thought I wanted: wealth, recognition, influence. But something was missing. Purpose maybe, or connection." She met his gaze steadily. "I built a company that helps businesses communicate better, but I realized I'd lost touch with the most important connections in my own life. It was time to come home." The transformation of Joe's Diner began the very next week. Sophia's investment allowed for renovations, new equipment, and a revamped menu that honored tradition, while embracing modern tastes. She hired a local marketing firm to create a social media presence that highlighted the diner's history and community roots. When Lily returned for spring break and found Sophia working alongside her father, the reunion was emotional and joyful. The two women, now adults, reconnected instantly, their bond transcending the years of separation. Within 6 months, Joe's Diner had become a destination restaurant, drawing visitors from neighboring towns. Marcus hired additional staff, including several local teenagers, who reminded him of Sophia all those years ago. Following her example, he made sure they were well-fed, respected, and encouraged to pursue their dreams. Next Tech's regional office opened a year later, bringing